What's going on, everybody? My name is Cleve,
I'm Bronson. Hello.
and today we are going to be doing our ACC poll rankings, our national rankings, and also reacting to the Week 4 AP poll. So let's go ahead and let's jump into it. Let's go ahead and start on our ACC rankings. A lot of interesting stuff. Well, not really in the top three, but outside of the top three in the ACC, there's been some movement going on. So we'll go ahead and kick it off. I'll let you start with who your first team is.
Number one, I'm sure, and I got the same as last week, Miami.
I also had the same as last week. Number one, it's Miami. And I'll go next with number two, and it's also the same as last week. I got Florida State.
Same thing, Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way they were expecting it to be years ago when they put it together. They finally getting it. All right, you want me to start my number three?
Yeah, go ahead, number three.
Number three, my ranking, I got Georgia Tech, the same as I had last week.
All right, I also have Georgia Tech at number three. Now, here's where it gets a little bit trickier just because of, some results that happened this past week in college football. But for me at number four, I got Louisville.
And I also got Louisville, and I believe both of us had California at number four last week. That ended up being a big mistake. Yeah. 34-0 loss at San Diego State. So yeah. But I got Louisville. And you do too. Okay. All right. So I'll go first on this next one. Now, this is the one I got number five, the team to put a beat down on us. I got Syracuse number five. Last week I had NC State number five.
Yep, I also have Syracuse coming in at number five. They look really good so far. Next up at number six, this is kind of where it gets interesting, but for me, I have the Virginia Cavaliers.
All right. I got NC State because head-to-head, they beat Virginia. Yeah. And that's the only reason. Yeah, you could have flip-flopped those, but I did because of head-to-head competition. Yeah. NC State won that game. And so even though it was home too, wasn't it, for NC State? I believe it was. But, yeah, they beat Virginia in that. So I got NC State number six. And as you can see, you can tell that strong depth of the ACC, again, is not that great because we're up here putting NC State. I'm putting NC State there. We've got clobbered by Duke, and it just goes to show. And Syracuse got whipped pretty good by Tennessee. So we really are banking on the top four there. Louisville hadn't shown to me what they could be, and still kind of watching for them. But that I think, though, the top three for sure, I would put them up against anybody in the country, any others. Not saying they'd win it, but it wouldn't be an embarrassing game. I think I'd put the top three against anyone. Would you do that too? Would you say that?
For sure.
Louisville, I think it'd have to be home, a home game for them. And I just don't know quite yet what to think of them. So, but they got talent and they got a very good coach. So,
one thing of note I want to talk about just for a second, Louisville. I think once they start getting into the conference schedule, we start seeing them pretty consistent in the ACC play. I think we'll have a good idea. And also, that team will also most likely pick it up once they start playing, that ACC competition. So I think they will get it together because up to this point, they've only played Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, and last week's team, Bowling Green. So they got some games coming up.
Yeah. So they are a dangerous team, but not the level of the top three, of course. For the bottom, worst team for the second straight week.
Two or three, I think.
Maybe three. Because Stanford had the first week and then surprised us with that win against Boston College, I guess. But Virginia Tech, bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
No other way to put it. Yeah, Virginia Tech, not good. They did win 38-6, I believe it was, but played Wofford.
Now, let me throw something in here. I looked at the standings. Guess who's on the bottom of the ACC standings? Our Clemson Tigers.
Tigers.
0-2, the only team that's 0-2. So in our ranking, we got Virginia Tech, who, when they first got Virginia Tech into the conference, they were good, and they thought they'd be a great program to help the football side. And here they are. We think the worst team in the ACC, but the ones who's actually in the bottom of the standings is Clemson. Who would have thought that? So yeah, this what a college football season has been for us so far. So
Yeah,
a little crazy.
It's a rough one. All right. So with that being said, that'll wrap it up for our ACC rankings. Next up, this is going to be the first time we're doing this. This is our first ever Yard Dog consensus top 12. So we came together, we sent each other polls, both of our polls, and using a point system, we decided, who's going to be placed where. But, however, we didn't expect this to happen. Our top 12 is actually the exact same.
How about that?
So we didn't have to use any points for like tiebreakers and whatnot. It was the exact same in the top 12.
I was concerned about his knowledge of football before we started all this, but now that I see he's starting to do the same as me, I'm like, hey,
All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into it. And that's, number one, this hasn't changed, I don't think, since we've been doing this, even when we were just doing 6. And that's Ohio State Buckeyes taking home the number 1 spot. They've got a nice win at home versus Texas, and they haven't done anything to lose that top 1 status. So they're number 1. At number 2, we have the University of Miami, Florida. Miami looks really good. They played Florida this past week. They showed a lot of toughness, just running the ball, just playing really beautiful football, honestly. So they come in at number 2.
I got to tell you, man, I consider putting them number 1 because they've shown it on the field better than Ohio State. I guess I'm giving Ohio State credit for being able to win the big games overall, their program. Miami hadn't done that quite yet, but they're winning. Yeah, I can't say that because they've beaten USF, they've beaten Florida, and they beat Notre Dame. Yeah, I got to question my own putting Miami number 2 there, but yeah, we got them as number 2. So yeah.
And like I just said, Ohio State hasn't done anything that I think deserves losing that top 1 status. Yeah. But like you said, Miami has got the resume to back it up. Next up at number 3, we have the Oregon Ducks. They look really good. They're by far, in my opinion, right now, I know we have them 3rd, under Ohio State, but I do think right now, if Ohio State and Oregon were to play today on a neutral site field, I would have to pick Oregon over Ohio State. That's just what I feel like the game would be. So anyways, with that being said, that's Oregon number 3. And then right behind them is their opponent for this week, and that's Penn State coming in at number 4. This is going to be a really good game. I believe this is at Happy Valley. So it's going to be, if you're free on Saturday, you need to be watching this game because it's going to have a lot of implications.
Big game, yeah.
Next up, coming in at number 5, we got the Georgia Bulldogs. Can't stand them, but they're good, so not much to say about that. Next up, probably going to be maybe the most interesting place here for both of us, but I do think it's the right place for this team, and that's number 6. That's going to be Oklahoma. That's the Sooners. Now, they did just hit a pretty big road bump, with John Mateer going to be out for about a month, maybe some more. Undergoing hand surgery, but they have shown it on the field and more. That game versus Michigan took care of business at home. This past week beat Auburn on the road. So they look really good, and I think if they can make it through this stretch without Mateer, if they can make it through this month with the backup Michael Hawkins, who played a lot last year, I think they're going to be just fine. I think they'll be all right.
If they make it through without Mateer, wow, they probably number 1 if they make it through without him.
The Sooners are legit, man.
Number 6 for sure.
Yeah, that defense that's a Brent Venables defense if I've ever seen it. Next
Yeah.
up at number 7 is LSU. This is an interesting team now. Because obviously I hate saying that week 1 win doesn't look that impressive anymore. It doesn't look that impressive at all. And they've been very sluggish this year. They had a big win last week, but that was against like Southeastern Louisiana or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't really gauge anything off that. Had a sluggish win against Louisiana Tech, and it's just not been. They beat Florida. They did beat Florida, but they relied on Lagway throwing 5 interceptions to beat Florida, and they only won by 10. So there's a lot of it's kind of interesting in Baton Rouge right now as far as the concern around that team, but we'll see. Next up, a team that there's not a lot of concern around right now. That's number 8, Florida State. They look the part. You can tell this is a team that is ticked off from what happened last year. This is a team playing with a lot of fire, a lot of flash. They're a very flashy team, and they look good. Um, Outside of the first week 1 against Alabama, they haven't played really any competition. However, they've done what they're supposed to do and then some. They won this past week 66-10 against can't read, can't write Kent State. So FSU looks good, and they're probably going to keep on climbing.
They
Next
give
up,
me hope for next season for Clemson. Maybe we'll be mad and
maybe we'll go 2-10 and come out
yeah,
and
really angry and yeah, yeah.
beat LSU in Baton Rouge next year. Who knows?
Oh gosh.
Next up, number 9, Texas A&M. Again, this is one of those teams they've kind of at times looked sluggish, but when it matters, they've come through. They went up to South Bend, beat Notre Dame a couple weeks ago, and they look really good. Marcel Reed looks good. They won it when it counted. So Texas A&M comes in at number 9. Now at number 10, this is an interesting one because I'm trying to remember because what we do with these is we post a top 20 and we use points like that. That's how we determine things, tiebreakers and whatnot. I'm not quite sure where we had Indiana last week. I don't even know if it was in the top 20.
No, I forgot. Well, we didn't do it together consensus.
Right.
We
But
had
I don't know if I had him in mind. I don't know if
yeah.
I had them there.
I
But
have to go
anyways,
look.
with
Yeah.
that being said, number 10 is going to be Indiana after trouncing Illinois at home. They beat them 63-10. Dominating a top 10 team like that is almost unheard of. That's a 53-point victory. So
A team that beat Duke.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Duke Blue Devils.
Illinois beat Duke at Duke. You know how tough that place is to play. Straight day. Yeah.
Yeah, good old Wallace Wade. It's not screw Duke. Anyway, next up, number 11. This is Texas Tech. Texas Tech just won this past week, 34-10 at Utah, beat the Utes. And an interesting game, and we kind of talked about this last episode. Their starting quarterback gets hurt when they're only up like 10-3, and then the backup comes in, goes 10 for 13, it's like 10 for 13 or 13 for 16, 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Absolutely took the game over and ran away with it for Texas Tech. So that's going to be a dangerous football team down the stretch. So that's why they're coming in at number 11. At number 12, this is Texas. This is, their only loss coming to Ohio State at Ohio State, which I hate using the term quality loss because you lost the game anyway, but that's not an awful loss to have on your resume. However, they haven't looked like what we thought. Arch Manning is coming out the gate very slow. That offense has kind of taken a minute to find its footing. They had a blowout win versus Sam Houston this past week, but it's Sam Houston. So there's kind of a lot to watch there with Texas, but they're coming in at number 12 for now.
I'd say we still got them there also because of their talent, because they haven't really shown anything and they lost. And it's a shame that Oklahoma's quarterback will not be available for that Texas game. That's a shame. I'd love to see Oklahoma with Mateer at quarterback against Texas. I would have picked them to beat them, but I don't know what's going to happen now. So that's our top 12. Yard Dog top 12. Did you want to compare the AP top 12? I see a few differences here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 differences, I think. Do you want to go over that or you?
We'll go over these. We'll go over the big hitters real quick. Number 1 and number 2 for us are the same. We both have Ohio State 1, Miami 2. Number 3 is where it gets different. So for us, we have Oregon at number 3, but the AP poll has Penn State. Now, you remember in our poll we have Penn State 4, so it's not a big difference,
Right.
except for the fact that they have Oregon coming in at number 6, and
Yeah.
that is behind LSU and Georgia. LSU at 4, Georgia at 5. Now, obviously, we have Georgia at 5 too, but LSU coming in at 4. You've heard it a lot from us and I'm sure a lot of sources about SEC bias, but I think that's a pretty clear-cut example of it because LSU's marquee win now is not that impressive. Both of them, Florida and Clemson, unfortunately. But they're still managing to be at number 4, and they were number 3 last week. The week
Yeah, I
before
think
that,
where we got them at 7's better.
I think
really
7 is the ideal place for that. But yeah, that's interesting. So I remember Oregon for us is 3, but on the actual APs it's 6. And our 6th place team is the Oklahoma Sooners, and the AP has them at 7. So not a massive difference. I'm not like too terribly upset with it. Number 8 is the same though with Florida State. We do also have them at number 8, and number 9 is also the same with Texas A&M. Now, number 10 is where there's another difference, and that is Texas. As you remember, we got them at 12. Compared to the teams behind them in the actual AP poll, and that being Indiana and Texas Tech, those are 2 teams that have better wins and have overall just shown more on the football field.
Yeah.
So, I would move them up. So, basically, to wrap it up, take Texas, put them at 12, and then move 11 and 12 up a spot, and then you have our AP.
Yeah, they got Texas number 10 because of the brand name for sure.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just the brand name. And we're not going to go too much into because we wrote down 20 teams for the sake of point system and tiebreakers. We won't go into that, but I do want to talk about some teams that just missed ours. Hold on, let me pull it right back up. Yeah, so there's 2 teams that are just on the outskirts, and we have them ranked 13 and 14 respectively, and that's Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt.
Right.
I think these are 2 teams that really could probably slide into our top 12 and maybe even the AP 12. And just to probably by next week, they look really good. These are 2 teams that are just playing with a lot of heart right now, a lot of grit and a lot of fight. They have 2 quarterbacks, Haynes King and Diego Pavia. Both of them, they play with heart. They are the heart and soul of that team. And you can tell they're putting it on the line week in and week out. So I think we're looking at Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt being very dangerous down the stretch for the top 12.
Yeah. So who's the AP? I don't have it in front of me. Who they got?
The AP 13 and 14 is Ole Miss and Iowa State.
See, we don't have quite the
And for reference,
we think more Georgia Tech and Vandy, and I don't take that back at all. They've proven it more. So yeah.
Yeah, and for comparison's sake, like I said, we have them at 13 and 14. The AP has Georgia Tech at 16 and Vanderbilt at 18. So that's where they come in. I don't really agree with that. I think they've shown a lot more than the teams that are ahead of them, and those being in the AP poll, Tennessee, Iowa State, Ole Miss, and then Alabama is ahead of Vanderbilt. This is I don't like because I do respect Alabama and they're ranked 17th in the AP poll. I respect Alabama, but I do think that's also a case of name brand bias, them being over Vanderbilt. I think the poll knows it wouldn't be a good look if Vanderbilt were to come in ranked higher than Alabama. I just don't think they wanted to do that. But we're going to find out this week for sure with Alabama because they got to go. I believe they got to go to Athens. They got to play the Bulldogs.
Yeah. There's some good games this weekend we'll be talking about. Yeah,
really good game. So it's gonna be some stuff to watch. But yeah, so that's our AP top 12, and obviously we just talked about 2 teams on the outskirts. So with that being said, what else did you have on the agenda?
That's it. I mean, that's all we need. We did that. Our next video will be our ACC picks, our spread, and games of interest to watch for the weekend. A little bit of talk about that. The the AI is not ready yet to go against our spread. And I put food in front of my cat here and put names of certain teams. I think the cat would do better picking the spread better than I have. So I mean, yeah, I don't have much to beat so far with our spread. So we'll see what happens. We'll get better. Definitely get better. So
Yeah,
all right.
it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, with that being said, that's our rankings, that's our polls, and our reaction to the polls. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
And look for Easy Walker to be back on his own hiking. Cleve and I will be doing some hiking pretty soon, and we'll have a lot of back and forth discussions with other hikers. So looking forward to that. So Easy Walker is separate from our yard dog. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
And all right, so we'll catch you guys in the next one.
All right. Goodbye.